Oh, so the first thing you want to do is you want to look to see, is it perfect? So 16 is perfect. So since it's perfect, we know that the square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 81 is 9. So your answer is 4/9.
But what if that can go down one?
It 4 is an even number, 9 is an odd, so 2's don't go into it. What goes into 4 that goes into 9?
Wait, the thingy's not on.
Okay? Yep. Oh, the square root. Yep. Katie. No, stop talking. So once you take the square root of a number, like the square root of 4, it's just plain old 2. Because 2 times 2 gives me 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. That's why the square root of 16. So it's out of the square root. All right. When you're looking here, we have the square root of 3 times the square root of 49. Are either one of these perfects? So looking at our perfects, 49 is a perfect. So it's 7. So 7 times 7 is 49. So we have square root of 3 times 7. So it's 7 square roots of 3. Guys, separate. The first thing when you have a square root and then you have a fraction, the first thing you want to do is to break up. So you want to break it up so you have square root of 11 over the square root of 2. What is the rule? What can't we have on the bottom? A square root. Can't have a radical. So we're going to multiply both the top and bottom by the square root of 2. Because it's a rule. It's because if you put the square root of 2 in your calculator, it's going to be a decimal, and so you don't want that. So we have here, when you're multiplying, just like the review tonight, whatever you have a square root, what you do is you multiply what's underneath it. So you have 11 times 2, which gives you 22, and you leave your square root, over, we have square root of 2 times the square root of 2, which is square root of 4. Now, you always have to look to see, is there a perfect in there? So 22. Does 4, 9, or 16 go into 22? And how you would find that out is go 22 divided by your 4, 22 divided by 9, 22 divided by 16. None of them go into it, so we can leave it as square root of 22. What is the square root of 4? 2.
That's my problem, is trying to figure out whether to make it smaller.
What I literally would do is, see how you have 22? I know it takes a little bit of time, but
where does that take? Is that the
this is the one that you guys had. Yours looks like this.
Yeah.
I can't find mine. So what I would do is, this is what yours is. So what I would do is I'd take 22, and see how there's 4, 9, 16, 25? So you know 25 is too big. So you go 22 divided by 16. Does 22 divided by 16 evenly? Go in your calculator.
No.
No, it doesn't. So 22 divided by 16, it doesn't. So that doesn't. So 22 divided by 9. That's not an even number.
Okay.
22 divided by 9, not an even number. 22 divided by 4, still not an even number. So because no perfects go into them, you can't reduce it. So this sheet is the same as the sheet. I just can't find mine of this. I'll rewrite one tonight. But I just didn't have one today. But they're the same numbers. So when you're looking at 54 and you're looking at square roots, so how can you find out what perfect goes into it? So yeah, you divide them by the perfect. So still can't see it. So when you take your 54 when you take your 54, you have to divide by those numbers. So you take 54 and you divide it by 36. Does it work? 54 divided by 25, 16, 9, 4. What two numbers gives me the 54? Is 27 here? It has to be one of these numbers. So take a moment and see if you can find the number. It has to be one of those numbers. 9 and 6. So 54 divided by 9 gives you 6. So you have 3 square roots of 9 times 6. So looking for two numbers that multiply together that gives you 24. It has to be one of these, has to be one of them. Six and 4. So 4 and 6. Two numbers that give me 12. Has to be on the list, one of them. 4 and 3. All right. All right. So the first thing you want to do is you take the square root. I'm going to do this first one, and then I'm going to have you do these two. So you take the square root of 9, which gives me 3. So you have 3 times 3 square roots of 6. Because the square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9 square roots of 6. I want you to try to do these two, and I'll be right back with you. All right. All right. Square root of 4 is 2. So you have, so I'm just bringing it down. So the square root of 4 is 2. So negative 5 times 2 gives me negative 10 square roots of 6. Square root of 4 is 2. So I have 2 times 2 square roots of 3, because the square root can't do any more. 2 times 2 is 4. They have to look alike. You have to combine like terms. So these two are like terms. So we have 9 minus 10 gives me a negative 1 square roots of 6 plus 4 square roots of 3. We're doing all of the ones that look like the quiz. We're doing all 1 through 10. What do we have to do here? We have to distribute. So you have 3 times 6 is 18. So the square root of 18 minus 3 times 2 is the square root of 6. I will tell you to make sure you show your work, because I am giving partial credit on this quiz. So if you get to that point, you'll have half the points. All right, then you have to see, is there a perfect? So remember, our perfects are 4, 9, and 8, 16. What one goes into 18? 9. So we have the square root of 9 times 2. Square root of 6. Does 4 go into 6? Not evenly, so that you can't do anything to. Uh-huh. That's right. No. No. I don't. Sorry.
You know my brother? Yeah, but he did too. I wanted to ask you.
What was his first name?
Cody?
Oh. When did I have him? Like a couple years ago?
Last year.
Oh, last year?
My brother?
All right. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 square roots of 2 minus square root of 6. not like terms, answers there.
Wait, so what is square root of 2?
What square? What is not square root of 9 is?
No, I'm saying for 6. You wouldn't lower it? Or make
What? You have to look at this. So see how you have 4, 9. Your perfects are 4, 9, 16.
Yeah.
So 6 comes between here. So the only one that could go into it is 4. Does 4 go into 6 evenly?
Negative.
So because it doesn't, that's all you can do. Yep. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, when you get to the problem like this on the quiz, I will tell you, if you don't do it this way, it will be a lot harder. When you have like 60 over 70, because this is saying like 60 divided by 70, you can put them back together. Reduce first. So I would reduce by 10, so you have the square root of 6 over the square root of 7. So make sure you reduce by 10 first. Then do your rationalization. What do we have to multiply by? Square root of 7. Multiply the 7. No, that's fine. Do you see how it reduces? That's why. And we're going to reduce down here too. So if you reduce first, you won't have to reduce later. And I will tell you, it is harder if you do it later.
Are you supposed to reduce after you get the next one? After you reduce that?
This one?
No, because remember.
Okay, so let's finish it out. So do you see how there's 2 zeros? So we're dividing by 10. Okay. So you have the square root. I sat down with you. So anyway, so you can't have the square root on the bottom. So you have to multiply the top and bottom by square root of 7. So 6 times 7 gives you the 42. Square root, because it has to keep it underneath. Then the square root, 7 times 7 is 49. You're just multiplying the numbers. 42. Is there a perfect that goes into 42? So you have to ask yourself, does 4, does 9, does 16, 25, 36, any of those go in evenly? No. So you have the square root of 42 over, square root of 49 is 7. That's my answer. Reduce first. See how 5s are here? 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into that once. 72 and 2, what goes into each one? 2. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 72, 36 times. So you have 36 times 1, which gives me 36 over 1, which 36 divided by 1 is 36, right? Don't forget your square root, ladies and gentlemen, because that we didn't get rid of yet. Now, what's the square root of 36? 6.
Wow. All right.
Wait, so why does it 2 fall out?
2 goes into, yep. 2 goes into 72. I reduced. What does the square mean? What does the square mean? That's right. So 5 square root of 7 times 5 square root of 7. It means twice. 5 times 5 gives me 25. When you're multiplying square root, remember you have to multiply the number underneath it. So you have 7 times 7, which is 49. Almost. It's not it's not just completely distributive. Remember how if you had 2 times 3 times 7, you could multiply the first 2 first or the last 2. It doesn't matter, right? So what happens is there's no addition or subtraction. So what you're doing is you multiply this times this. and this times this, because they're like terms. But what is the square root of 49? 7. So you have 25 times 7. So 175.
There's a whole bunch of different answers you can get for this stuff. Fractions, with radicals, plain numbers.
There's a whole bunch of different ways you can do it, but you're always going to get the same answer. 75. Make sure you, the only way you're in front, the only way you can look is at me. Okay. We have here 75. You have to look to see what number, what perfect goes into 75. 4, 9, 16, 25, 25.
3 times, right?
Yes. 5 square roots of 25 times 3. 25. Minus, what about 147? 5 from the outside is from the problem. Nope. So,
I don't know what was.
147 is 49. So, square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 3. Minus 2 times 7 square roots of 3. Remember that this means multiplication, so when it came out, it's multiplication. So 5 times 5 is 25 square roots of 3. Minus 2 times 7 is 14 square roots of 3. This is a 3. This is a 3. Sorry. My thing. I didn't get 0.3. 75. Look at your perfects on your sheet. What goes on your perfects? What goes into 75? Look at 4, 9, 16, 25, 36 goes into 75. 25. Think of 75 cents. You have 3 quarters. So 75 times 3 gives me, or 25 times 3 gives me 75.
Oh, so you have to figure out something.
You always are figuring out what perfect and another number gives you the number you're given. Okay? So then square root of 25 is 5. And then this means multiplication. So you have 5 times 5, which gives me the 25. Then I'm just bringing down the square root of 3 because that doesn't have a perfect. Here, 149. Like what I would literally do in your calculator is just start dividing them out. Go 81, 64, 49, and try to see which one goes into 147. And you'll find that 49 does 3 times.
Only by these top numbers right here?
Yeah. By the squares. Because there's a, see how this is the square root?
Yeah.
In the next one we have to use the 4th. So we're going to have to go to the 4th. So,
but there's no number there.
the square. So then these are like terms. So we have 25 minus 14, which is 11, square roots of 3. And the last problem I'm doing for our quiz is 162. You're going the 4th now. You go to your 4th line. So we're looking at 1681, 256, too big. So we're looking at these two numbers. Which one goes into 162? 81. So the 4th root of 81 times 2, x to the 21.
Wait. Oh, so 2 times 2, 2 times 81 is 62.
Is 162. Yep. So the 4th root of 81, followed up, is 3. If there are 21 people in the room and they have to leave in groups of 4, how many groups can leave? 5. So you have x to the 5th. And then we have the 4th root. What's left over? The 2 and 1x. Now, I'm not going to worry about it for the quiz, but I just want to remind you is if it's an even and you take out variables, it has to be the absolute value.
Just the variables.
Yep. Because it's even, the variables have to be, but don't worry about the absolute value sign for the quiz. But if you get it, it's great. All right, so what is the fourth root of 81?
So what's this?
Right here.
Oh, that's right.
Austin. Do you know what the fourth root of 81 is? Look at 81 on your sheet. Find the fourth root, 81, and follow it up. 3. Because 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. Then we have, did you get the rest of it? Okay. 5 times with 1 left over. Yep. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen.